Hello! It's been a while! I'm finally back. I needed some time to settle back to Paris, and that's why there's a new background now, and sorry for the sign. I need to change that. It's a bit rude, but I think it's a funny one. Anyway, so today's video is going to be a bit short, but it's going to be about language learning and introversion. By the way, my name is Kevin, and this is the channel Kevin Abroad. And even though I'm not abroad anymore, I'm still going to talk about language learning and linguistics. So if that's your thing, then consider subscribing and join us. Okay, so you might not know this about me, but I am an introvert. I'm such an introvert that I can spend entire days just introverting. And yes, I just made it a verb. The reason why I'm making this video is that there's a lot of misconceptions about introversion, especially when it's related to language learning. For example, a lot of people think that introverts are people that are shy or hate talking to other people. And similarly, they think that extroverts are always out and about and talking to tons of people all the time. It's not so much that it's never true, but rather that it's often false. You see, no one is always introverted or extroverted. We are all somewhere in between the two, but never always in the same spot. And this really depends on the situation where someone is, whether it's a sort of casual context, a professional context, etc., etc. For example, as someone who is mostly an introvert, so me, I'm very comfortable in gatherings with lots and lots of people, but sometimes I'm not. And this really depends on the level of energy I have. And I think this is the easiest way of looking at introversion and extroversion. Introverts will recharge the batteries when they are on their own, while extroverts will recharge the batteries when they are around other people. I mean, bear in mind, this is a simplification and this is obviously a bit more complicated than that, but I just want to make things a little bit sort of simpler, just for the sake of this video. So now you might wonder why this is relevant to language learning and how you can sort of learn from what I'm talking about in this video. Well, for one, it means that being an introvert doesn't mean that you should avoid all situations where you have to speak to other human beings. I see this all the time online. An introvert will say, oh, I'm too shy to talk to other people, I feel too anxious, etc., etc. The problem is that introversion and social anxiety and shyness aren't always connected. You can definitely be introverted and have social anxiety or be shy, but not all introverts will be shy or have social anxiety. Because that's just not the same thing at all. In fact, you can absolutely be extroverted and have social anxiety and even be shy at the same time. This can be good news because if your problem is being shy, you shouldn't just spin it on, you know, I'm an introvert, so therefore I will be shy and there's nothing I can do about it. On the contrary, I used to be really shy. I still am shy to some extent, but it's something you can work on. It's not sort of like something you have to carry like a burden for your entire life. So for example, what I did to work on my shyness is to sing at karaoke because I was sort of very vulnerable, and for me, singing in front of people was really scary. And also I'm a teacher, so teaching in front of people is very scary and nerve-wracking. But the more I did all these things, the easier they got. And if you have social anxiety, obviously I'm not a psychologist, but it's something you can work on with therapy, for example. So it's not necessarily something that's related to you being introverted. And number two, once you know that introversion and extroversion is a spectrum, then you can take advantage of it. For example, if you're mostly introverted, then you can use the time which you use to recharge your battery, meaning your time alone, to do, for example, immersion, reading books, or even chatting on your phone, online with people, because that's sort of less taxing for your brain. But there's also situations where you're going to be more extroverted. For example, in my case, I'm much more comfortable with one-to-one interactions than interactions within a group because I kind of find it hard to take the floor and sort of intervene and take part in the conversation because often I will get interrupted and that's just kind of difficult for me to sort of interact in these situations, I guess. So I know that for me, interactions on one-to-one are where I'm going to do, you know, better language practice than if I am in groups. So essentially, I just pursue more one-to-one interactions than group interactions. Although that doesn't mean that I absolutely avoid all group interactions, but, you know, I don't seek them in particular for language learning. So I'm going to conclude this video now, but I guess the main takeaway, or what I wanted to sort of share with you, is that being introverted or extroverted isn't anything that's necessarily bad for language learning. It's just that it's two different ways of functioning as humans, and it's important to take advantage of those and know sort of what you can do comfortably and what you're less comfortable with. And for you introverts in particular, I just want to tell you that to learn a language, you don't have to be speaking all day for hours every day to really sort of progress in your language. It's absolutely fine to study languages by doing more sort of passive activities like reading, watching films, listening to podcasts, and you will still be able to learn a language. Alright, that's it for this video. I'm really happy to be back. I'm really looking forward to getting back to my weekly schedule of video uploading, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!